So, definitely for those who know my story or who might Google my story after this interview that they might see in your network, I came to this work because I needed an abortion. I didn't end up having the abortion. I ended up having my child, but after I had him, I still had 3 abortions after him. I think the most important piece of that is that I still did not understand my body. Right. And it wasn't until somebody taught me about my body, another Black woman who ended up being my mentor and brought me into this reproductive and sexual justice movement, that I was like, wow, you mean to tell me like the only thing that I needed to understand was like how to understand my fertility, like to understand my body's relationship with latex and condoms, right? Being empowered to have conversations with my sexual partner about using them, making sure that we're using them properly. I was like, oh, I can teach that. I can do that, And so I think that for me, my so what success story is that after being equipped with that knowledge, I've never had to have another abortion, right?
Hey everybody, I'm back with another episode of So What Success Stories, and I'm so excited today because I'm talking to my friend Cherisse Scott, and Cherisse and I go all the way back, I don't know, over a decade, but I love when I make new friends, meet new people who become my friends and my sisters doing the work. So I met Cherisse when we were both involved with MemTV, an organization with a collaboration of different organizations focused on helping you specifically around reproduction, teen pregnancy prevention. And I met Cherisse actually right after I wrote my book, and I got involved with that organization. And it's because I was involved in the organization that I met Cherisse. And Cherisse has been a blessing to my life ever since. Now, Cherisse is the founder and CEO of SisterReach, which is an amazing organization, which she'll tell us more about. And she is an awesome singer and songwriter. And we have been blessed to have her as part of the Love Yourself event, which is the fundraiser, one of the fundraisers I have for the So What Foundation. But she blessed us last year with her vocals. So yeah, she's super talented, super amazing. And I'm super excited to talk to her. So Cherisse, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you so much, Summer, and the So What crew for having me on your show. I really appreciate it. And always excited to just be in community with you. This is what we do. I think the only difference is that we're not sitting across from one another at a table where somebody is bringing us food or I'm cooking, one or the other. So I'm excited that we are in this space today. So I am a Detroit native who moved to Memphis, Tennessee in the early 80s when my mom moved here. I have roots in the South. My family's from Mississippi and Alabama. And I've been living in Memphis this time for almost 13 years. I'm just excited to do the work that we do at SisterReach and help our community. So I'm just happy to be here.
I love it. And don't forget, I know you didn't forget, but you didn't say your son, she is a proud mom.
Oh, yes. Okay, that's what I was about to say. Okay, so I'm a mother. My son is 21 going on 222 and actually just recently started working for us here at SisterReach, which is really dope because this organization was birthed out of my birthing experience with him. And so for him to be working here as an adult now on the other side of being a college graduate and doing all the things and helping us upgrade this old lady, helping her upgrade her website presence and social media presence. I'm just so glad that he can bring his, evolving expertise to our space and that he and the rest of the millennials and zennials on our staff can keep us, current, right? So I'm super excited to have him on our team. And so I'm so glad to be here.
Yes. Okay. So I'm so super excited too. I didn't know that. I did not know that. Yep. That's a dream. That's awesome. That is awesome. Both of us have our babies in terms of our businesses and our mission because of our babies, right?
Because of our children. Yep. That's right.
That is awesome. Well, I'm super excited to share your story, Cherisse, because you are somebody that I have admired since all the way back then. And just even talking about SisterReach, and let's maybe even just start with that. So how you have grown and grown, and for everybody watching this, I just was looking at her office. I was like, where are you? Because it's a brand new office, because she's moved since I was in her last office. So tell everybody a little bit about SisterReach and how you started.
Sure. So SisterReach is a reproductive and sexual justice organization here in Tennessee. We are the first of our kind, and we have been doing our work here for the last 12, almost 13 years. And we work from a four-pronged strategy of education, which includes comprehensive reproductive and sexual health education, community-based education about policies that impact Black women, women and girls of color, young people, queer folks and their families. And then we also do policy and advocacy work. We do what we call culture change work, which is an organizing strategy that helps. It's kind of long game strategy, right? Using ideas and current issues that are impacting people, really pressing in on those issues to try to, maybe challenge the ways that people have traditionally thought about certain things, right? Whether it is their religious path, inclusion, racism, sexism, those types of things. And then we also, our fourth prong is harm reduction. So we do free HIV testing, hepatitis C testing. We have a pretty robust safe-sex kit distribution program that once upon a time was national, but it was a little expensive to do it nationally. So we do it regionally now, supporting folks in Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Kentucky, and Illinois. And Arkansas. We have a pantry that I named after my mother called Pearl's Pantry, where we support folks with food, clothes, baby items, toiletries, as well as food items as well, just to make sure that we are meeting families where they need us most, right? And especially during COVID-19, we saw a lot of increase and uptick in that type of need. So we have been doing, we do, get our pregnancy test, emergency contraception, right? We support folks where they are, right? And we connect people to care that goes and extends beyond our care services. So whether or not we're getting them connected with folks around their reproductive and sexual health, or, HIV care or mental health support, however we can show up for folks where they are is, that's how we roll here at SisterReach. This is our Tennessee location. I opened SisterReach, Illinois last year. And so we have two different SisterReaches, of which I am the CEO and founder of both. But our dedication and, how we kind of made our mark in the world has definitely been through our work down here in Tennessee. So,
wow, girl. I'm telling you, I'm just in amazement of how you've grown, because I saw where it started.
Yep.
And I'm just seeing where you're going, and not only just the growth and seeing your office, but I know the impact is way outside of the office. And
thank you.
And just the lives that you touch. And I know personally how you've touched a lot of lives, and seen personally how you touch a lot. It's not touch, change, impacted, saved.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
And you got my support forever and ever and ever. So let's get into this, girl.
Okay, come on.
Let's get into this. So in this program, I have what I call the So What Success System. It's my belief that anyone, absolutely anyone, if they can learn how to overcome obstacles, eliminate excuses, and calculate choices, they will have so what success. And that's success no matter what happens in life. And Cherisse, I know your story. I know a lot of your story. I know a lot of your journey. And you are a So What Success woman. You are a So What Success woman. And so let's talk a little bit about how you became the So What Success woman. Starting with the first part of So What Success System, which is overcoming obstacles. Talk about some of the obstacles you've had to overcome and just how you've done it.
I think, just relevant to my work and even to your work is taking control of my reproductive and sexual health by becoming educated about my body, understanding how to control my fertility, understanding when I am ovulating, which is the time in the month that a person can become pregnant, so that I don't end up with a mistake, right? Or an unplanned pregnancy. Right. And so for me, that really is the beginning and end of why SisterReach, it really, that's what it's connected to. It's connected to empowering people to be self-determining to be empowered around their bodily autonomy. And once upon a time, I was not, right? Like so many people, generationally, our parents don't know what to teach us or don't have that information or education about their bodies. When I had my first period, my mama was like, these are maxi pads. This is how you use them. And now you can get pregnant. That was it. You see what I'm saying?
And that was
that's
more
not
than a
enough
lot of people
information.
get.
Exactly, right? So, definitely for those who know my story who might Google my story after this interview that they might see in your network, I came to this work because I needed an abortion. I didn't end up having the abortion. I ended up having my child, but after I had him, I still had 3 abortions after him. I think the most important piece of that is that I still did not understand my body. Right. And it wasn't until somebody taught me about my body, another Black woman who ended up being my mentor and brought me into this reproductive and sexual justice movement, that I was like, wow, you mean to tell me like the only thing that I needed to understand was like how to understand my fertility, like to understand my body's relationship with latex and condoms. Right. Being empowered to have conversations with my sexual partner about using them, making sure that we're using them properly. I was like, oh, I can teach that. I can do that, And so I think that for me, my so what success story is that after being equipped with that knowledge, I've never had to have another abortion, right? After being equipped with that knowledge, I've never had a mistake. You know what I mean? I think that that's the most powerful piece of this, and definitely living in a conservative state where, we do have an abortion ban and things like that. I think, if I could just get into the heads of legislators who are conservative and those who are anti-choice and say the reality of this thing is that if we really wanted to remedy this, we would empower people with the tools. And if we're not going to empower people with the tools, what we absolutely can't do is stand between them and their ability to be self-determining. So that's what SisterReach is all about. And, and though it started out around my reproductive and sexual health, it has evolved. It has evolved around my thought process about abundance, my thought process around resources and money, just a total change of my understanding of what that looks like, going from, doing SisterReach the first 3.5 years of SisterReach without a paycheck, right? And then finally understanding how to raise money, how to write those grants, how to build relationships with funding partners, how to be unapologetic about my lived experience, and to bring that not in a shamed way, but to use that, right, as a leveraging tool of power building and saying, hey, I am the poster child of what reproductive and sexual justice is supposed to achieve, right? And so if we can continue to try to create more me's in that way, then we ought to be able to put SisterReach out of business, right? Like there ought to be a time where folks don't need to understand their bodies because it's just a part of our society. It's a part of our culture shift or our culture change, right? That we equip people to understand about their bodies. And I don't just mean girls, right? And women. I'm talking about men, boys, pregnant, capable people. However, everybody needs to understand their bodies. Everybody needs to understand healthy relationships, right? I don't just do sexual health education with young people, though that is really how you and I got a chance to really know one another. But what I found is that this is intergenerational ignorance. And it's been just as important for me to teach mama and grandmama, daddy and granddaddy about their bodies and their sexual lives. So that's how we, shift and change these generational issues that are perpetuated, right? My dad was the product of a teenage mama, right? They wanted my parents wanted me, but I wasn't planned. You see what I'm saying? So, in that way, right? Planned as in being able to pinpoint it down to a time. Were they financially ready for me? Were they emotionally ready for me? Those types of things. So that's the way that we address sexual health and reproductive health here at SisterReach. And I think that to me, I'm a spiritual person. I am a believer of Jesus. And, I'm a believer that of Hosea 4:6, that my people perish because of a lack of knowledge. And so that to me is what we employ here, right? We employ that sentiment. We're not a faith-based organization, but because I am a woman of faith and because that is what guides me and has guided me through making decisions about my sexual health, that's how we roll, right? More knowledge, less confusion. More knowledge, less mistakes. So.
Well, one thing that I remember when I first met you, and it's continuing today, is how you are unapologetically you. And like you just said, you own your story. You're proud of your story. But because this is when I become this. I haven't always been that. And I mean, now it's been over a decade, but in there's like proud to tell my story and what the journey is. But the other side of you that I love is you have the hard conversations. Come on, bring it. You welcome the hard conversation, and I love and I respect it because I like a hard conversation too. I will, because why? Just like you said, people don't know. It's so much that is so harmful to us, our generations, our communities, our world. But why? Because people won't talk about the stuff because people don't know, and people don't know because people don't talk.
That's right. So especially the Black community, especially us, especially the church Black community as well. We're not talking. We're just not doing.
So many things are so taboo that people are doing stuff and getting hurt as a result of it in so many different ways. And so I always appreciate you always being very, very vocal, and I love it. I love it. I admire it, honestly.
Appreciate it.
So the second part of SOA Success System is eliminating excuses. So Cherisse, you could have made a whole lot of excuses along your journey, and maybe you did make some. Talk about some of the excuses you had to eliminate to get to where you are today.
I'm gonna continue that thread, right? I could have kept being in a situation where I needed to make those types of health decisions, or I could have figured something else out, and I'll be, just for the sake of just being honest, like, you don't know what you don't know, right? You can't, and nor can we expect people to make decisions or make sound decisions or informed decisions without information. But once I had the information, there was no more excuses about getting pregnant unless I wanted to, right? So, I mean, of course, it's easier to be in a victimized role than it is to be in an accountability role. I think that's the kind of rub, right? That's the rub there that we can't ignore. And this is the responsibility I feel as a Black woman that I have to other Black women and girls. Hey, look, you can keep coming to SisterReach because you need emergency contraception, or you can let me teach you about your body. And you can still leave here with emergency contraception, but you're not going to need to come back so much for it. You see what I'm saying? So there's got to be a moment where, enough is enough. And I think for me, once I was empowered with the tools, and because initially it still didn't resonate, I didn't adopt it, I didn't buy into it. But at some point I was like, wow, like by the third abortion, I was like, okay, God, let me get myself together right quick. They taught me this thing. Let me for real get it. Let me for real apply it. And I really hope that it works, right? And I work in an industry, unfortunately, whether it's on the conservative or the progressive side, that really doesn't trust people to make sound decisions about their bodies, right? I push back on that, right? I think that once a person is empowered, once a person adopts a level of accountability about themselves, the choices that they make, and I mean, this resonates across all areas of my life. This is not just around my reproductive and sexual health. It's how I handle my finances. It's how I handle relationships with other people, other Black women in particular. It's just about once you know better, you do better. Yeah. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that you don't make mistakes. That doesn't mean that I haven't had to use emergency contraception after those abortions. Okay. At least I knew to use it though. You see what I'm saying? I knew to use it. So there was no need for anything other than let me go to the store and get them. Get an emergency contraceptive pill. The end. You know what I mean? So I think that's the piece, right? For me, overcoming that, getting rid of the excuses, and then moving. And I will say this: the more I took a posture of accountability, the stronger I got. You see what I'm saying? And that strength didn't just it doesn't just resonate within me, it resonated within me and outside of dealing with any sexual partner. Hey man, this is how I get down. You can do this, or you don't have to do this. You can wear this condom, or we don't have to have sex. You can do this by my rules because this is the standard now that I have, or we okay. I see you. Okay. That part that's deep. And I don't know that everybody feels so comfortable to do that. And let's be clear, because we support people who navigate intimate partner violence. That's not always a possible outcome, right? Because I don't want to get in trouble by folks saying that she should have been responsible then and talking about, yes, those who are in violent relationships many times cannot negotiate a condom. My second abortion was because of contraception sabotage. I thought the person had on a condom and they did not. They were trying to get me pregnant on purpose. That's a very real scenario. That's not just a scenario in non-marital situations. Sometimes that's a situation within marital situations, including the use of birth control or somebody taking away your birth control or controlling how you take your birth control. Those things are very real. So I'm not going to leave that out like that's not an important part to the story. It wasn't necessarily the part of I wasn't in a quote unquote violent relationship, but to not be in full control or to allow somebody to do what they want in some way, that is violence, right? Whether or not it is self-inflicted or self-allowed or not. So,
well, I'm just thinking about two main words come to my mind as you're talking, is education and empowerment. Yep. And how important it is. And even in just doing this interview, and what I know is going to come from this is from somebody to see this and just feel like, yes, I can say no.
Absolutely.
Yes, I can say you have to do that. And I don't have to do that, because I'm just thinking about lots of different situations that I know of personally, and even situations I've been in where you feel like you can't say anything, or you don't know what to say, or you don't know what to do. And so I just think it's super powerful. And that's why, you do the work that you do and the way that you're doing. And I just love those two components. I love everything about it, but those two components are so strong. And all I see are lives saved. That's what it comes down to me, lives that are saved. And that's why I do the work that I do too. And I have the book and my curriculum, and through my book and curriculum, it's the same thing. I'm trying to educate you, and I'm trying to empower you to say you can do better, you can make choices, you can speak up. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people don't see, don't get. And even me, like I said in the beginning, is I wasn't a speak up person.
Sure.
And I see it in you, and that's, and I'm glad.
And I wasn't either, to be honest, right? I wasn't either. Knowledge is power, but also being equipped with those tools help you to be, and the kind of rehearsing of it helps you become more powerful, right? The more you resonate in a space of boundaries and values that you're not going to compromise, the stronger that you become. So I feel you on that. I wasn't always here either, but I am now, and I'm really thankful, and I'm thankful for you as well, and to see you move in such a powerful way with young girls that you are supporting, young people that you are supporting. Neither one of us want folks to go through what we went through. That's just the bottom line, right? But I can give you a fish, or I can teach you to fish. So I think that where we are is we're teaching people to fish, and they pass that on. They forward that along. I mean, my sisters, my sister-in-law, everybody, every woman I can get in, at the nursing home, at the schoolhouse, at the church house, at the community center. Yeah, they got to know.
People need to know. People need to know. And you giving them knowledge. I love it. So the third part of the SO Success System is calculating choices. And so you've already talked about some choices on the way. Talk about some of the other calculated choices you've made, including, moving to your new space and the new things that you're doing with SisterReach.
I think one of the calculated choices was my mother asked me to move here to Memphis, first of all. And I started my work in Chicago. And I was here as a child. I, left for school. I didn't come back, and I came back as a woman. I don't know that I thought that God would bless me in a place that when I was a little girl, because I was having culture shock from being Detroit born and raised to Memphis raised and cultivated. I was like, what's happening? So just coming back to a place that as a little girl, I had some stuff, right? Missing my family, missing my friends. And then to be able to come back as a woman and see that not only, all things work together for the good, and what was good for me was coming back to a place where I could be an asset, right? And a contributor. There's so much work to be done here in Memphis, Tennessee. There's so much work to be done across the state. So that's kind of one thing, right? That's kind of the broad picture, because if I wouldn't have done that, I don't know that there would be a SisterReach, right? I think the kind of calculated choices, and especially in such a really interesting political climate. We're on the other side of Roe v. Wade. We're on the other side of a lot of anti-LGBT policies, anti-trans bills. I think one of the calculated choices is centering my community, centering Black folks in a way where I want to ensure that our people are empowered after they come into contact with SisterReach, right? I guess I'm trying to make it be more, succinct about what I'm trying to say. Like for us, we have been organizers. We've been doing advocacy. One of the things that I felt like the advocacy work just did not allow me to put my hands on community members as much. Right. For some in my movement, I think that they don't really know what the hell to do. For me, as a Black woman who understands what it is to have my back against the wall and have to hustle and figure things out so I can take care of myself and my family, I feel like this was an opportunity to focus on harm reduction in a way that I don't think I ever had the capacity before. We were fighting for so long to try to preserve access, not having access in Tennessee, hey, I'm making lemonade from these lemons, right? And that is, so how do I empower young folks? How do I empower women and girls and pregnant capable folks to be able to not have to be pregnant? So let me teach you about your body. How do I help you in the midst of poverty, just, staring us all down? It's always ever present. How do I give you the tools to make sound decisions for yourself, so you and teach you how to thrive, to trust the process, to love yourself enough to follow your dreams, right? But to not be so in the clouds that you're not thinking about the things that you need to do to take care of yourself, your daily needs, to be practical.
Right.
So we're teaching people about their bodies. We're creating opportunities. And what we're working on right now is a program that's been brewing since about 2015 for me, that's starting to finally come to fruition, where we will be able to support folks with transitional housing, mamas and babies, and women to be able to have access to a network of professionals who can support them, like wraparound support, social, mental, financial, educational, resources that can help them to, on the other side of living with HIV, or the other side of being a victim of domestic violence, or even in the midst of sisters who navigate substance use disorder, have some support, and they have some tools to get back into the community, and to help and pay that forward, if you will, right? So I'm trying to say it without like going deep into it, but
I love
just to
it.
say, like, just doing more practical, hands-on, direct service. That's not something that we were always able to do here. But for like the last, we've done HIV testing since about 2013, and I started the organization in 2011. But we weren't necessarily able to do things like help people pay their utilities, or help people get into a home, or stop them from being evicted, until like the last maybe 3-4 years. That feels so good, right? That really feels really amazing to be able to help people. And my mom actually and that's her. I don't know if you can see the picture behind me. She made her transition in 2018. But my mother actually is the one who asked me to continue the work that I was doing in Chicago, because she felt like mamas and babies in Memphis needed that type of support. They needed reproductive and sexual justice support. So, when my mom moved here, she and my father were separating. She was a single mom. I know what it's like to be hungry. I know what it's like for utilities to be off. I know what it's like to just to not have enough, to not feel safe, to not be safe. Okay. I know what that's like. And so trying to create a different atmosphere for the people that we're serving, to me, is healing a particular part of my life and a particular part of the life I know that she led, so that somebody doesn't have to. The name of our pantry is called Pearl's Pantry. That's my mother's name. My mother's name was Pearl. And that's because my mama, if you needed help, if you was hungry, then mama was in the kitchen making you the most beautiful meal, not just any old thing, right? If you needed help, you needed clothes, you needed shelter, you needed somewhere to be. My mother was always like a community resource, right? And so that's what SisterReach, so much of her as an honorary founder of this organization, so much of her is wrapped up into how we serve and do this direct service part of our work. So, I pray I make her proud, right? That something that she asked me to do has fully come to fruition and continues to evolve in ways that I know that even she wanted to be able to do and wasn't able to do. So I'm just thankful for that.
I have no doubt that she is proud. I really feel blessed that I was able to meet her at your opening at
yes,
your first location. Or that wasn't your first location, maybe the second location. Yeah.
Yep.
So no, I feel honored that I got to meet her and that she was there to support you in that way. And I got a chance to talk to her. And I think it's a beautiful way, a beautiful thing that you are honoring her and her legacy by doing this work, which is saving lives. Again, just comes down to it. It's saving lives. It's saving lives. So Cherisse, I love it. I love it. And as you're talking, I'm like, oh, I still haven't made it to Pearl's Pantry. I have a ton of things that I want to bring.
Please do. We receive them. We still receive things, and I mean beautiful things, right? Because that's the other thing about poverty. That doesn't mean, because I know what it's like to have to go to a community place and get food, a food box. I've been there raising my child. We give folks the best items that we can. We don't give generic products. We give name brand products. I know some folks might say it doesn't matter. It matters to me, right? Because I know what it's like to get a box that doesn't have all of it, enough to make a meal, right? So we give those things. When we open this up for community to start bringing us things, I mean, name brand bags and shoes and wonderful suits and coats and I mean, oh my God, I don't have all these name brands in my closet, okay? But the folks who come to Pearl's Pantry, oh my goodness. And we wanted to set it up like they were coming to a boutique. And so, that's the way my mom was, right? That was her spirit. She really wanted to honor people with the best that she had, right? So that's what we're doing as a legacy and a tribute to her. We're giving folks the best that we have, right? So that's what and I mean brand new undergarments, right? We give out everything for the whole family, right? So that to me is the way that we're supposed to support our neighbor. That's the way that we are supposed to love one another. That's how we're supposed to show up for our people. So yeah, so that's the way we roll over here.
I love it. And I'm just thinking about the growth again, the expansion, how, going back to MTV and what you were doing at that time and what I was doing at the time and how it has grown to you serving the whole person inside and out, and the family and the whole community. So Cherisse, girl, this is good. You definitely have proven you know how to overcome obstacles, eliminate excuses, and calculate choices. You are so what superwoman.
Oh, thank you.
So what superwoman. So you know what success is like, and you know how to get there. But what is your personal definition of success? How would you define it?
Being true to yourself, being honest with yourself, being compassionate with yourself, and moving in those energies with other people.
I love it. Energies. You said the word. I'm like, yeah, because I always feel your energy. It's a great thing. Last question for you. You've been dropping lots of nuggets. I think you've helped people throughout this entire interview. But what's one piece of advice you would leave somebody watching this who wants to be successful, however they define success, whatever that means for them, but they run into obstacles? What's one thing you would tell them?
It's gonna be hard at first. Like it comes with the territory. Don't give up. Don't give up. Like I said, I ran SisterReach the first 3.5 years without any money, really. Had a couple of very small grants that just kind of paid my rent because I was running the organization out of my home at first, right? And there were times I was like, man, this is not what's up. I was
I
like,
know about that.
and I mean, and be real, right? I saw this thing on TikTok about a girl who moved, her and her children. She was trying to be like a social media influencer or something, and she moved from one state to another state to be a social media influencer. You moved your babies from where you had a support system to where you did not have a support system, all in the service of trying to be this thing, right? That you could have done at the crib. So I think what I'm saying is just be realistic. I had to work a job. The reason that you saw me at Memphis Teen Vision because that was my job, right? And I think I had another part-time job at the same time while I was running my business, while I was trying to get my business off the ground. So, it's a lot of people look at where SisterReach is now, and they're like, oh my God, this is wonderful. I want to do that. I want to get a nonprofit, baby. That's not what this is, right? This is years of struggle and toil and crying and praying and hoping and believing and faith, and doubt and anger, right? And hurt. Like, what is this, Lord? What's going on? But I just didn't give up. So it comes with the territory, the good and the bad. The bitter comes with the sweet. But if you don't stick in there, you don't get to where you're trying to go, right? And I remember once I started doing better, I have my executive coach, and I was like, I got this nice car, and I think I feel a way about going to low-income communities now and supporting people. He was like, well, Cherisse, what is this reproductive justice situation if you never show them that there's something to aspire to, right? What are people aspiring to? They're aspiring to keep struggling, or are they aspiring to see you are the living example of what can happen, right? So I had to go ahead and release all of that too, right? So, so I embrace my success. I embrace, that I'm not where I was 12, 13 years ago. I'm, financially, I embrace that. And I think that's the piece, right? Stick in there. Don't give up. It's always going to look away in the beginning, right? It's always going to be hard in the beginning, but it is the seeds that you plant when it's rough that are going to bring you a harvest that's going to be more than you could have ever imagined. Because this organization has become far more than I ever imagined.
So I love it. And as you were saying all those words, the sacrifice, the doubt, the pain, I was like, what? God has blessed me to have started a nonprofit and a business at the same time so that I can feel all those wonderful feelings that you just said.
At the same time. Okay, let's talk about the same time. Okay.
All of them. But your advice is so true and it's so powerful. Don't give up. Don't give up. Thank you so much, Cherisse. Again, I'm grateful for years ago. I think it's 2010 when we met. I'm grateful that either you reached out to me, I reached out to you. Somehow we connected, and I'm so grateful we stayed connected. And again, you've been such a role model to me, and a friend to me, and a blessing to my life. And I thank God for the prosperity I see in your life and in SisterReach. And again, I just thank God for all the people that you are saving and the lives that you're helping. So thank you, girl.
Hey, sis, iron sharper than iron. That's what we are to one another. Definitely the same sentiments for you and all that you are doing with SoWell Foundation, and every person that you touch and every person that you inspire. You constantly inspire me. I was just at your fundraiser last week, honey, and it was fly. And I appreciate what you do in our community and how you are so intentional and trying to create space for self-love, not just, you know what I mean? So it's so same here. Always much love, always much respect.
Thank you.
Hey.